Good Monday morning, everybody. Jim Williams. I'm waiting for Amedeus. He'll be here directly. And yesterday, they played a football game out in Phoenix, and the Kansas City Chiefs came away the winners. Now, there was some controversy toward the end of the game with about a minute and 28 seconds left to go. The Eagles got called for a defensive holding on wide receiver Juju Schuster. There was a huge controversy as to whether it really was holding or wasn't holding, but what it did do is it gave the Chiefs a first down and gave them the opportunity to burn the clock and, in essence, set up a game-winning field goal with no time left. So that was the big controversy of the game yesterday. Otherwise, it was a very entertaining game, one which you had Kansas City down by 10 points at the half. They rallied to win the game again on a game-winning field goal with basically almost 8 seconds left to go on the clock, giving the Eagles, one prayer, and it didn't work out. But what a day for both quarterbacks, for guys like Jalen Hurts, who set 5 Super Bowl records for quarterback, and he lost. And then Patrick Mahomes, who entered the game with a high ankle sprain, played well, was knocked out during the final parts of the second quarter of the game, and came back after the intermission, after Rihanna's concert, and performed well. As a matter of fact, he was 13 of 14 in leading the Chiefs to a big come-from-behind win. So your thoughts today on Super Bowl Monday are greatly appreciated, as always. But yesterday, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes walked out with another Super Bowl ring, and the Eagles walked away, I'm quite certain, devastated by what they thought was a game they should have won and could have won. But we'll wait a little bit longer to talk to Amedeus about breaking it down. But at the end of the day, probably the two most telling statistics from that game is A, the Eagles not getting a sack at all on Patrick Mahomes, which is amazing. And here's Amedeus. Hold on one second. We'll put him through. Amedeus, good day after Super Bowl morning to you.
Yes, good morning. How's it going this morning?
It's going great. And it's so good that all of us picked, you, me, and Garrett picked Kansas City to win on Friday before this game. Oh man, what a game. It was it had a little bit of everything in it.
Yeah.
I was just talking about, we had controversy toward the end that was it a hold, wasn't it a hold? If you look at it in real time, right? The official throws the flag the moment he sees, Juju Schuster being jersey trying to be grabbed. I don't know that he actually got a hold of it. But again, the official has no idea how the play's going to play out. Which the ball, there's no way Juju Schuster catches that pass, which ends up about 10 yards beyond him. But it was a very crucial part of the game. But look at what if you look at what Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes did yesterday, it was just an amazing game by both of them for two different reasons, actually.
Yeah, it was a very, very high scoring game.
Well, you called that part.
Yeah, definitely both teams getting into the 30s there. But that last play, to me, it doesn't really matter if it's a foul or not, because at the end of the day, we got what a surprise. We got a flag on the biggest play of the game that pretty much handed the Chiefs the Super Bowl. And frankly, am I surprised? Absolutely not, because that's just classic NFL.
Well, the other part to this is that the Eagles left points on the board, on the field, I'm sorry. They had a drive in the second quarter, which, came to the end of the second quarter, gave them the opportunity to kick, to score a touchdown or get a field goal. They got a field goal. So instead of getting that points there, they left points on the board. I'm sorry, I keep saying board. They left it on the ground out there. There were opportunities for Philadelphia to score more points than they did, and they didn't. There was, of course, that defensive touchdown that was scored, when Jalen Hurts fumbled to tie the game up. And then there was the special teams breakdown when Tony returned that punt almost for a touchdown and set Kansas City up. But, I mean, if you look at Mahomes in the first half, obviously he got hurt toward the end of the first half, came back, was 13 of 14, and basically they didn't every drive they had, they scored. So there's that. And, the Eagles defense that you and I talked about, and I think everybody talked about, didn't have a sack, didn't really cause Mahomes any trouble except for on that one play where he re-aggravated his ankle. Other than that, they did what we did allude to the fact that Andy Reid was going to try to get the ball out fast. And I think that, that pretty much told the story that they were able to negate the rush by just getting the ball out so damn fast that, you couldn't get to him fast enough.
Yeah.
Then he also had that run. I'm talking about Mahomes now. Had that run for 26 yards, which was pretty ballsy in the second half. And Jalen Hurts set 5 Super Bowl records in a losing cause. I mean, he had some amazing plays he made on himself.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot done by both teams in this game. It's one of those things where personally I don't really care whether it was I know I gave out the Eagles, but
right.
I don't think either team really deserved to be in there anyway. So to me, this was a lost Super Bowl, and the fact that you had that call at the end of the game with the Chiefs, it's a one massive spoiled event. And then on top of it all, you have some lunatic packed the Chiefs purple G2. So I don't know who did the packing for them, but I would fire that guy, the purple G2.
One of my favorite things, and this was something that goes back.
And the camera guy at Fox missed the Gatorade pour, so he needs to be fired as well.
Yep. Well, Richie Zines, who directed it, probably we'll get a hold of Richie and go, hey, what the hell?
People were not happy with that.
How do you miss it?
They show Andy Reid and he's just already soaked, and everybody's like, "What the hell is going on here?
How did he get soaked?" It was. How would you like to be one of the 7 general managers who, at the combine, when Jalen Hurts was at the combine, asked him if he would consider not playing quarterback, but would consider playing a different position?
Yeah, that's just
how genius are those guys?
See, that's ridiculous to me because I get they scout the player a certain way and they think they have skills in other areas, but I feel like that ship has sailed in college. Okay, that's what the college recruits are for. They go out there. Okay, they take you from high school, and maybe you're not as good as a player as you are in high school, that you could be at a different position. So they make that change for you in college. Now, if you're going to ask a guy to come up from college and make the change for the NFL, that's just ridiculous to me, because then you have to throw away every other stat that he did in college. And at that point, you're just drafting him for pure athletic ability, which is fine. But at the same time, what's the point? I think same with Lamar Jackson. What about all those people that wanted him to change his position? So it's just it's dumb.
Well, to me, the interesting part, if you've got a guy like Randall Antoinelle, right, who played quarterback in Indiana before he became a player in the NFL, or Hines Ward, right, both of them were running quarterbacks. Okay, they didn't really throw hardly at all. I can understand how they ended up with wide receivers, because passing wasn't their thing. And you get into the NFL, and they don't do a lot of running quarterback, triple option stuff. So I get that, but when you take a team like Hurts did, taking Alabama to a national championship, and they just decide to change quarterbacks in the game, national championship game. Doesn't mean you didn't get them there. And then he plays well in Oklahoma, almost to the point where for a Heisman Trophy. And what else do you need to see? I mean, the kid can throw the ball. There's no need to size-wise. Hell, Drew Brees was supposedly 6'1". There's no way Drew Brees was 6'1". So if you're going to talk about size, tall and being able to get out and throw it, I don't get that either. Because again, these guys were, he's not 6'5", but he's also not, 5'8". So he can play the game. Just stop it. It's bad. It's bad scouting is what it is. And, it is what it is. What are you going to do? I did. There were two things that blew up Twitter yesterday that had zero to do actually with the game. One, Juju Smith-Schuster shows up wearing a skirt type outfit, and everybody went nuts. Now, Juju Schuster also caught 8 passes, which was the total of his last 3 games prior to the Super Bowl, and set up a couple of touchdowns. So I don't really care what he wore. He balled out whenever he got on the field. And the other one was
I didn't see what his outfit was.
Yeah,
I didn't happen to see his outfit showing up to the game.
I would pull it up, but I don't want to cause any more grief than we already have. The other one was how fat Rihanna was during her concert.
I thought she was pregnant.
She is pregnant.
That was the first thing that I noticed. I saw her and I was like,
second child.
She clearly looks pregnant.
And she clearly was. But again, the woman's singing. Geez, I mean, come on. It's the first time she's done a live concert in 8 years.
I think what it was is nobody knew she was pregnant either. I don't think.
Okay.
I guess so. Like it was like a big unveiling, or it was unveiling for a lot of people. It was like, oh my God, is Rihanna pregnant? And that's probably why she agreed to do the halftime show. It was a way to get her name back with relevancy, and now everybody's talking about pregnant Rihanna.
Well, they better buy pregnant Rihanna's album, because that's where she was. iTunes spent a lot of money to bring Rihanna out of retirement for that. For that. So we'll have to see how that was. But any final thoughts on the game? Anything that takeaways other than it wasn't what you hoped it to be
on the actual game?
Yeah.
It was a great game right until the last play. And like I said, like you can sit here and argue any which way. It was a holding, it wasn't a holding, and it doesn't really matter, because the fact of the matter is there was a controversial flag on the biggest play of the game.
Again.
And where if you let that go, the Eagles have a chance with the ball. But obviously if you throw that flag, the game is over. So absolutely it was tainted by the refs. And I don't even think either team belonged to the Super Bowl. Another story of the refs, but yeah, this one you might as well have given the Super Bowl to the boys in zebra stripes, because they earned this one top to bottom.
There you go. We also saw Manchester United win over the weekend, so Sean must have been happy. He was, I'm sure, there enjoying that victory. We've been talking about this. PSG got beat. And beat bad.
Yeah.
Over the weekend.
Yeah.
Rubbed.
I had Monaco in that one. PSG, they didn't start anybody. So Mbappe and Messi were out. Neymar started on the bench. And it was one of those games where you knew they were going to just rest players because of their Champions League match with Bayern this week. Mm-hmm. And they got throttled. They've lost the last 3 straight in Monaco now. And Monaco, I think, has scored 3 goals in all 3 of those. So PSG struggles with Monaco already, and they threw a weakened lineup out there. It was never going to go well. Now, though, I'm hearing Mbappe and Messi are supposed to be available for this Bayern Munich game, which, 2 weeks ago, they were both supposed to be out. So I don't know what's going on, but I guess we'll just have to wait and
Somebody's
see.
playing gamesmanship there.
Yeah.
The irony is, of course, Mbappe, Messi, half the PSG team has homes in Monaco because it's a tax-free zone. And so that's where they live when they don't, when they aren't playing soccer. So it was kind of like a home game for them. They got to sleep in their own bed and watch the game from the sideline.
The other half of the players hate it because they have to they got to take I think they got to. Is it Monaco? There was one game I was watching over the weekend where they were talking. It might have been actually Ajaccio, where the team had to take a ferry back to the mainland, or it was Nice. Actually, I think it was.
No,
Nice.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't Monaco.
Yeah, no, it was Nice. But yeah, they were saying they have to take a ferry back to the mainland, and they might just have to stay the nights because the game is past a certain time. And I was
the time that the ferry left.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know Nice was off. It was on
an
island.
Coast. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you've ever been to Seattle, it's like Bainbridge Island is right off of Seattle. And you see all those shots when they show beauty shots of Seattle, of the the ferry going back and forth between the island and the mainland.
It's like how Toronto has Center Island up here.
Yeah. It's about a 30-minute trip on the ferry going back and forth between Seattle and Bainbridge Island.
Yeah.
So evidently they couldn't, nobody could pull up a boat and drive them back across the water to Nice. But
you'd think you'd have your own private boat at that point.
You would think maybe they could have borrowed Tom Brady's. I mean, he wasn't using it, so they could have gone from there. I'll tell you what, if they needed a boat and they were in Monaco, that would not have been a problem. They got plenty of yachts in Monaco.
Oh yeah.
So they wouldn't have to worry about that. What are some of the takeaways over the weekend on soccer from your standpoint? Because you watched quite a bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, Barcelona is rolling right now in La Liga. There's still something's wrong with Real Madrid. Still, I think, but for the Premier League, I mean, Arsenal starting to slip. Mm-hmm. Definitely, Arsenal's starting to slip up. They've dropped a few points, lost to Everton, so they're starting to slip. But Man City, they've bounced back yesterday with their win over Aston Villa, but right before that, they were not playing very well. They were not taking advantage of the Arsenal slip up. So now with that win against Aston Villa, they really needed that. They looked really good in that game. So they'll probably use that as momentum going forward. But they play Arsenal this midweek, and they're going to be missing Haaland now. Apparently, right. Haaland got a pretty bad injury in that Aston Villa game. Mm-hmm. I think is a head-related injury. I'm not 100% sure though.
He's got a concussion protocol.
Yeah, so there you go. They're not letting him play Arsenal, and I mean now that's going to be a huge match because obviously Arsenal I think still has a game in hand, but it's about a 3-point lead right now, and Man City could really make them sweat and put the pressure on with a win, but now you're missing your best player. And Arsenal, they're not the best form, but they're still good, and they're going to be at home here. So that one I think is going to be an interesting. I think Chelsea is starting to play better. I know they lost over the weekend, but Joao Felix scored, and I think they have a lot more attack. We'll have to see how the rest of the season goes for them. But I think their attack is starting to come around. And, Liverpool's taking the full dive. So
joining us from England. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Hey, Sean, where you at?
I'm at the Notting Hill Gate tube station right now. So I'll be back in my room in about 15 minutes. So I'll join you. I'll just join you for a couple minutes here, and then I'll jump on when I get back.
So where were you? Did you get to see Man U play at Manchester United?
Yeah, I went to the Leeds game yesterday. Yeah, I saw the Chelsea West Ham game on Saturday, and then went to see us demolish Leeds yesterday. So that was pretty interesting.
Amedeus was just talking about Chelsea.
demolish Leeds. Did you? You had to wait like 80 minutes for that to happen, Sean.
Yeah, well, then we had the ball in the net 5
Yeah,
times.
I couldn't believe what happened there. I stopped watching because I was like, oh, I'm gonna cash my Man United, and all of a sudden, like I'm hearing the commentator freaking out. I look up and like Rashford's got a third ball in the net. I was like, what the hell is happening here?
Now your train coming?
Yeah, there's the tube. We actually the goal that Wakehorse scored should have been onside because it was played back by the defender. But yeah, I'm on the way tomorrow. I'll be in Barcelona for the Barcelona Manchester United game Thursday. So be interesting. This game today is interesting. I think Everton has a chance here today to maybe get a result against Liverpool, who's been really bad.
So you're going to Everton, Liverpool?
Yeah.
You went to the Everton game, Sean?
I just left seeing your guy Joe Hammond, so I met him down at the Victory Circle. Had a little lunch with him, so that was pretty interesting.
Are you going to the Everton game?
No, on the weekend I might go Saturday to the Everton and Leeds match because I'll be in Manchester and I might take a little trip over there. But,
so you're getting ready to head to Barcelona.
Yeah. Yep. Getting ready to. I'm gonna jump on the train here in a couple minutes, but I just wanted to come in and say hello. But I'll rejoin you guys in about 10 minutes when I get back to my hotel. If you're talking about some of the Champions League for tomorrow, so I'll be back on in a couple minutes.
Well, we will look forward to it.
All right.
Okay, thanks. Our roving reporter from Notting Hill Station, the tube station in Notting Hill. I didn't see Hugh Grant, so it must be early in Notting Hill.
Yeah, it looked like England.
Yep, it did. It was overcast, and it looked like he was standing in front of prison. I don't know if it was exactly the most scenic of all, but our intrepid traveling reporter.
The nicest buildings in England. What do you mean?
Yeah. So
let's just pretend every building's not 100 years old.
Yeah, that was Prince Harry's new digs in London. So anyway, you were discussing Chelsea. Was it Chelsea you were talking about?
Yeah, I was talking about Chelsea and then Liverpool, about how they continue to slip, as you heard. Sean mentioned they haven't been playing well, but they've been slipping. This is not a team that's out of form. This is a team that is in panic mode and has no idea what to do to fix their problems. And I think another storyline is Newcastle with another draw. They're up to, I think, 10 or 11 draws on the season, which is more than they have wins because they only have a
lot of draws this weekend.
Yeah. But Newcastle specifically, they have 10 wins, and they're not going to be able to compete with Manchester United. Obviously, they've already slipped down to 4th place now, but they're not going to be able to compete with those other top 4 teams if they continue to drop points like this. It's just every time it's a draw now, and they're struggling to score goals. It's been an issue, and it's really starting to creep up. Their attack issues, Arsenal's attacking issues, these things are that looked like they were fine coming back from the break a few weeks ago are now starting to creep up now that the transfer window's over and we can't make any changes about it. Mm-hmm. Now the issues are starting to creep up. Teams are having trouble scoring goals, or defenses are collapsing. So it's definitely going to be an interesting down the final stretch for this season for sure.
Well, that's why they pay the big bucks, right? They want these guys to play. They want the coaches to coach. And they're praying that the same, field judge that played in the Super Bowl, it was in the Super Bowl yesterday, is not being an official in the Champions League. So we'll see how that works out. Holding it offside. But hey, just not to belabor the subject, but on the Super Bowl, what do you think of Philadelphia's rugby scrum that they use on short yardage. You see that thing where basically everybody is within, in a little pack right in front of the.
Oh yeah, just you mean the Eagles QB sneak
Right,
nowadays. Yeah, I don't see why every team doesn't do that. Like just half the time when it's like a third and inches, there's a good chance, like not every time they run a QB sneak, but there's a good majority of teams that will run the QB sneak in that situation. And you can kind of tell too, because obviously the team doesn't trust their quarterback.
Right.
Some of them don't, put them in that position. But there's a lot of other teams where 90% of the time they're going to QB sneak it. So like if you know it's coming, the defensive line knows it's coming. Just line them up because
everybody in the stadium knows they're coming.
It's just a battle of muscle at that point.
Well, they had that one play at the very end of the game where Philadelphia tried to let him score.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he was smart enough to stop at the 1 yard line.
He almost made it in too. If I was the defender, If I was the defender, I actually would have. I would have pulled him in because I know it's illegal to pull a player for the offense, but there's no really rule against because it's not like you're aiding your own teammate.
Well, yeah, and the other thing is you could have, if you were behind him, you could have dove and hit him and knocked him into the end zone.
Yeah, if you really wanted to be safe. You could, because it seemed like they had just let up on him. You could have just straight up picked him up and carried him into the end zone and then placed him down nicely so you don't get the penalty. But
don't spike him. Just take him into the end zone.
I don't see why more guys don't do that. Like I would totally pick a guy up and then just don't want to get the penalty, so just lay him down nicely. But it's
in the late 1970s. There was a game between University of Miami, and University of Florida. And the quarterback for the University of Florida was a guy by the name of John Reeves. And John Reeves had a chance to break Jim Plunkett's NCAA passing record. The problem was they didn't have the ball, and there was only a minute and a half left to go in the game. And Miami had the ball down at their own down at the Gator 10-yard line. And so the coach at that time, Fran Kersey, was coaching Miami, and coaching over at Florida was a guy by the name of Charlie Bell. Anyway, Bell decides that the only way we're going to get Reeves this record is if we let them score. And so Miami comes up, that's going to be a running play. The entire Florida defense lays down. I mean, physically lays down. Like they were zombies in a movie. Okay, down they go. The guy doesn't know what to do. He just runs in for the score. They get the ball back. Reeves throws 2 passes, breaks Plunkett's record, and forever that has been known as the Gator flop.
Oh my God.
Because they literally laid on the ground, let the Hurricanes score, and so you're thinking, okay, yesterday the Eagles flop. But the guy was smart enough to stop. But I agree with you. If you see him going down, the first thing you want to do is grab him and push him into the end zone, because that's a tackle.
Exactly, right? Like you see he's about to go down, and all you got to do is just grab and try to pull him up. Just keep him up, keep him off the knees, and then you can push him because they'll already have some forward momentum.
Right.
He was literally a yard away. It's just like a little push and hope he crosses over. Right. And then you get a minute left.
All the ball has to do is break the plane. The guy doesn't even have to break the plane.
Yeah. So, and you know what? Like any day of the week, I will take the let them score the touchdown and be down by the touchdown with a minute left versus let them score a field goal with 8 seconds left, and then good luck getting up to even field goal range with those 8 seconds when they squib kick it on your ass.
Well, they had a minute and 20 when he made that play on the clock. So a minute 20 is enough to get you at the very least into a legitimate chance zone for making a touchdown.
And you know what? I was so happy because I started the game with the beautiful tails cash. Tails never fails. We talked about that. And then I played this thing. I found it. It was kind of funny to me, so I played it. It was the number on the jersey of the first touchdown score, over or under 11 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said to myself, I said, well, most guys under 11 and a half is wide receiver. So if we're going to assume that they drive down the field and try to take some time off the clock, we could get a running back or a tight end into the end zone with the over, and you were getting like plus 105. So I said, I'll take a shot on this over 11 and a half. I was freaking out when Kenneth Gainwell got into the end zone, and then they ruled it short. And I said, great. Now I'm going to lose because Jalen Hurts is going to sneak it in.
Right.
He's number one. And sure enough, what happened? Everybody in the stadium, see what I mean? Is like, I didn't even, they took my touchdown away and I already knew. So, well, QB sneak now from the 6-inch line.
Right.
Like, honestly. But but then I ended up, I cashed another one at plus 450. Any field goal or extra point to hit the post or crossbar.
Doink.
And it was a funny one, right? And I was literally, I remember I went to the bathroom and I was like screaming at my girlfriend. I was like, what's going on? The numbers aren't changing on Bet365. It's still 7-7. Tell me if this field goal hits the post. And then she goes, oh my God, it hit the post or hit the crossbar or whatever, right?
No, it did. It hit the upright.
She was like, you put it in the air and it happened. I was like, damn right, it happened.
That's right. Doink! You got your bounce off the upright on that one. It was inside 40 yards. I mean, it wasn't like he was kicking from distance.
Yeah. So a
although
lot of interesting things.
Yeah. Although I did hear a lot about the turf coming up, like they were taking divots out of the. Yeah, they were taking divots out of it. It's like, whoa, what's going on? Yeah, it's like they were playing the waste management in the dome.
It's that Arizona grass.
Yeah, just it comes up. Well, that's you're not really supposed to have natural grass in a dome stadium, so I'm not so sure it worked well. But there were divots all over the place, and then there were guys slipping on the painted portions of the field. Where they
Leave it to the Cardinals to have a dome stadium and a natural field. Like,
they have that.
They would manage.
Oakland, not Oakland. I shouldn't say Oakland because that's not who they are anymore. Vegas has it, but Vegas keeps it outside and it actually slides it. So the turf is natural turf. It's kept outside, and then on the day of the game they slide it in. So it's kept hermetically sealed until game time.
I actually saw a headline this morning that said, because I subscribe to a lot of local Cardinals news and stuff. And so all the headline was, Bidwell needs to focus more on getting to Super Bowls instead of hosting them.
Boink. Yeah.
Because this is like a second in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Well, until before Los Angeles and Vegas got their stadiums, if you wanted to go west, the only place to have a game was, that had a legit stadium was Glendale.
Yeah, I remember there was like a time period where it was all just like, it was like Arizona, Tampa, Minnesota, Arizona, Tampa, Minnesota. It's like, and then Indy would get thrown in there every now and then. It was like a repeat.
Anybody who built a new stadium ended up with a Super Bowl.
Well, now you got the $1 billion complex over in LA. Got to use that for a Super Bowl, right?
No, it's a beautiful complex, but the Meadowlands, like, please, when somebody's Super Bowl in Minneapolis, it's inside, but you have to get there, so that's cold. But now you're gonna
snow on the ground on my way to the stadium.
Well, next year's the final one in the West for a little while because they're going back out. They're going to Vegas for this one, going out for Super Bowl 58. Then they'll come back east again and play. But Miami, Tampa. Miami's held. Let me try to speak English again. Miami's held the most Super Bowl, and then after that's Los Angeles, New Orleans, Tampa, and now Arizona is probably in that mix as well.
Arizona's coming up the wings.
Mm-hmm. And you got to think, who would have thought 10 years ago that Vegas would have held a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought Vegas would have had a team, right?
Right.
And we're saying that now too, and then watch, like 5 years from now, they'll have a baseball team.
Right. And the funny thing, yesterday, one of the big storylines, which shouldn't have been a big storyline, but it was, and was that in the parking lot of the stadium is a BetMGM, BetMGM booking shop. So you can bet literally on your way into the stadium. We're talking from the front door of the BetMGM to the first gate, couldn't have been 100 yards.
Wow.
So that's pretty close. I mean, that's giving you. It's not as close as going into the building as you can in Washington D.C., but it's pretty darn close. And they had the guy from MGM there talking, and he said, "Look, we have a lot of people who are casual bettors, a lot of people who are first time users, and here they are on Super Bowl Sunday coming in." I didn't hear anything about Mattress Mac. I don't think he put down any money.
He lost on the Cowboys, and that was it. He said, "That's it. I'll just calm down, and we'll get ready to place my MLB future
Right.
for the year, I guess."
Right. The line moved from 1.5 to 2.5 within about 8 hours before kickoff. So
for the Eagles,
it went up. Well, went up to 2.5.
Yeah, I saw. I got it at I think -1 in the morning, and then I remember it was like 1.5 shortly after. I didn't know. I didn't follow it though, so I wasn't aware it kept going up. But I could believe it. They were even winning by 10 at halftime. So it's one of those games where I agree. They had chances. They could have kept their lead. They could have done more in the second half. But at the same time, the way it ended was just a whole nother side. Like, what a surprise! There was a flag on that most important play. Is all I'm saying, right? Like, There was no flags for that whole drive, and then on that one specific play, we get one. So Philly
had 6 penalties in the game. Kansas City had 3.
Yeah. But so make what you want of that last play. I think it ruined the game. But at the same time, it's one of those games where either team really could have won it. It was one of those where the team with the ball last was probably going to be the winning team. It was shocking. The Eagles got out to their lead at all. And, at halftime, they were like, the Chiefs were like plus 265 on the money line. And I was even saying, I was like, it's only like 10 points. That's really not a lot. I get the Eagles eat a lot of clock, but obviously we saw how that worked out for them.
Yeah, being ahead doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win.
Yeah, because the Chiefs come out, score a touchdown, and then you take 10 minutes off the clock and score a field goal. You didn't really do much to help the cause.
No, and the other part is that the Chiefs come out and they score every time they have the ball. So,
that was the other thing.
And that's against the best, the quote unquote best defense in football. So, not so fast to rush those guys to Canton on that deal. But anyway, are you looking at your futures for the NFL for next season?
Oh, not the NFL. Yeah, I saw already they got with the Bills and the Chiefs as the favorites, plus 600, plus 700 or something like that.
All right, so wait a minute. The Bills and the Chiefs are the favorites, right?
That's what I saw anyway.
The only Kansas City has 4 unrestricted free agents, and that's it. That's an amazingly small amount of unrestricted free agents. But so basically, Cincinnati gets disrespected yet again in that the bets going on for that. It's just makes no sense to me. How? I mean, to make it to the title game 2 years in a row and they don't get it. They don't get it. It's Buffalo who gets it.
I know it's weird because if you look, you have like 2 AFC teams ahead of the Bengals, and I know the Bills every year. The Bills are becoming like the Cowboys of the AFC.
Mhm.
Every year it's the same story. Josh Allen and the boys. It's their year. Josh Allen and the boys. This is their year. They start off the season 7-0. Everything's going great. And then we hit a snag. And then Josh can't get that crying look off his face for the rest of the season. It's like every time they show him on the sideline, he's wondering, why are we down, instead of just going out there and doing something about it.
Right.
So I don't know about this Buffalo team. I really don't.
I just don't see how you take a team that's made it to the finals 2 years in a row and disrespect them by not putting them in the mix.
And see, that's the thing with the Bengals is like, say what you want about how great the Bills are and Josh Allen is, but like the Bengals, Joe Burrow has experience. He won a national championship at LSU. What did Josh Allen ever do at Wyoming? The only reason anybody knows who he is because John Elway decided to take interest in him one day at the combine or whatever.
Right. I don't know. I guess it's got me. The other weird thing is that they were talking yesterday about Eric Bieniemy maybe not returning to the Chiefs, but going to Tampa Bay as the offensive coordinator. And I'm like, what? He's going to leave the Kansas City Chiefs in his OC job to take the OC job at Tampa. What the hell?
Was it Tampa? I read
there were two teams. One was Tampa, and one was
Houston, right? With
Houston,
D'Amico Ryans, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, he knows D'Amico. I get that, but why?
Well, I even read something that the Cardinals wanted him as the head coach, and that's why they were waiting, because they wanted the Super Bowl to be over so they could interview him. But I think they're also interviewing the offensive coordinator for the Eagles as well. So at this point, they're taking the two teams that got to the finals and saying, let's just throw whoever at the wall and see what'll stick with us.
But I read over the weekend that Cliff Kingsbury, right?
That I saw too.
Was going to Texas as the OC.
Wait,
I thought he was in Thailand.
The Texas Longhorns?
No. The Texans. The
Texas Houston. Yeah, I saw that too. I think it was yesterday morning. I got a notification, and I said the exact same thing as you. It was like Cliff Kingsbury in Houston this morning or last night interviewing for OC, and I was like, weren't you in Thailand? And why didn't you stay there? Nobody wants you back here. And why didn't you bring Kyler Murray with you? What the hell?
Right.
All right. Take the problem with you if you're gonna leave.
Well, he was asked to interview. They couldn't have done it via Skype. I mean, what the hell?
I'm more shocked. I'm not shocked at the fact that he came back for the interview. I'm more shocked that anybody wanted to interview.
They asked him for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, what does Andy Reid say? No, I'm not going to retire. So what? If you had lost, you were going to retire? Like, it's all.
Look, Andy. I don't know that Andy's ever going to retire. I mean, they're going to have to.
First of all,
the jaws of life and pull him off the field.
Why would you retire? You're the next Bill Belichick right now. And as far as I'm concerned, if I'm Andy Reid, when Patrick Mahomes retires, I'll retire, because then I'm going to have to do it all over again, right? But it's like I have the next dynasty right now, and I've been building this for years, going back to the Alex Smith days. So, it's about time I cash in, win my 7 Super Bowls, and then I'll retire when Mahomes retires, right? Like when we have to start from scratch again, then, okay, I bounce. I'm too old for this.
The other thing is if nothing, Andy Reid has been a winner in Philadelphia. He's been a winner in Kansas City. He's only had a couple of losing seasons in his entire career.
If you go to Pro Football Reference and go to the Philadelphia Eagles page, Andy Reid comes up as the most winningest coach in history.
Right. And you do the same at Kansas City. You beat Hank Stram. So, I think the boy knows how to coach.
Yeah, and he was – I'll be honest with you. I've been calling this Chiefs dynasty since I was like 10, but that's back when Alex Smith and they had like Jamal Charles and players like that. Like they were still a great team, but to me, it was always Andy Reid. I was like every year I would see the Chiefs in there as like a wild card or something, right? I know they weren't great back then, but I just kept saying, I said, when the Patriots fall, this Chiefs team. And my buddy's dad used to tell me all the time, it's like, Andy Reid's a good regular season coach, but he always chokes in the playoffs. Okay, well, one of these days he's gonna fix that issue. And then sure enough, they drafted Patrick Mahomes. They phased Alex Smith out, saw how much better the team got. They went and won the Super Bowl. All of a sudden, the narrative changed from Andy Reid's a regular season coach to now Andy Reid's one of the greatest coaches of all time. And sure enough, now he's got his second one. So if I'm him, I just continue down the line until Mahomes, and now if Mahomes wants to play till he's 50, I mean, good luck, Reid. You're going to be in it for the next 20 years. But I don't think Mahomes is that kind of guy.
He's only 28.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I don't think he's that kind of guy. Like, no offense to Tom Brady, but I think you got to be crazy to play up until you're like 45, especially at that position where you're literally the guy that everybody wants to murder. That's the whole defense's job, is to murder you.
Right.
So
it only takes so many hits. Yeah.
But it's official. He filed. Did you see? He filed the paperwork, Tom.
Yeah.
So it's good. He put the rumors. He's trying to get Giselle back. That's what it is, right? Like, here, I'll file the paperwork, Giselle. Okay, I'm serious. I'm being serious.
Right.
And then right after my guy JJ Watt was like, oh, I didn't know I had to do some paperwork, but I'm definitely not doing that. But I'm definitely retired.
Right. I know the I forget who it was sent out a text, or not text, on Twitter. One of the guys, I think it might have been Schefter, Adam Schefter from ESPN, said a thing. I'll say, Tom, you do realize that you can email it, scan it, and email it now. You don't have to fax it to the league office.
Oh, really? I thought he literally hand delivered it with in an envelope
and dropped it off at the mail slot.
I could literally see Tom sitting there with the quilted feather pen and
right. It's been a while. Yeah.
Dear Roger Goodell, it's been a great 20 years. Just right.
It's been a good run.
It's got little different excerpts.
Yeah.
Excerpts in there to Bill, to Rob.
Right. Signed by John Hancock and Tom Brady.
Oh my God.
By Philadelphia on the way. It's but actually sent from South Beach, so it is what it is. But yeah. But the thing with Andy, I mean, talking about the choking, right? He had two quarterbacks who were outstanding athletes, but were incredible head cases. And Donovan McNabb, who, when they did get to the Super Bowl, was so psyched for the Super Bowl, he spent the first half of the Super Bowl throwing up. So, then he had Michael Vick. Again, talent, no question about it. But, not exactly, the kind of guy who's going to be, you can't give him the ball and say, Michael, carry us home. It's not going to work. And it didn't work with Donovan McNabb. So, it does work with Alex Smith. It did work with Patrick Mahomes. So it depends on who you've got as the quarterback. No coach, coaches set up game plans, got that. But calling him a choke artist is someone who clearly doesn't know the game. You cannot get to that position without. You're not going to tell me that Marv Levy was a choke artist for getting the Buffalo Bills to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row. He didn't win. Wasn't his fault. Players play the game, coaches coach the game.
Exactly.
And, you're not going to, it's not going to. I was just looking down here, making sure that Sean hadn't, maybe he lost the Wi-Fi password over at the hotel, or the tube got stuck on the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe it's just long trip. He looked at the time and was like, 10 minutes. It's not.
We don't know we don't know where he's staying. So from leaving from Notting Hill, where's he going? I don't know where he's going. So we have no idea if it's a 5-minute ride, a 10-minute ride, or we'll see him sometime from Barcelona tomorrow. But it's kind of like playing Where's Waldo. We should have put a GPS on him, but we could follow him around. from that standpoint. But any over-unders on whether or not there'll be another balloon shot down today?
Oh, just take the over. It's like one a day now. Isn't that what it is? It's like
Yeah,
one a day.
I was hoping that they didn't take down the the blimp outside the stadium in Arizona yesterday.
No, not the Goodyear blimp. Oh,
Come on, that's as American as apple pie. You don't want to knock that down.
oh, the humanity.
Yeah. Oh, it's we haven't seen our boys, in the comments today. It's been fans those guys.
Yeah.
So
It's not. I don't know.
Not a manic Monday for them.
Everybody's got the Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah. Like there's Bill.
Oh, there you go.
Jim, do you think they shot Mahomes' ankle? I think they probably did, Bill. I mean, I don't know whether or not they would have wrapped it, but maybe they did give him a cortisone shot.
He was walking a little weird coming out of the tunnel. I'll say that. Like it wasn't like limping, but it wasn't like a normal walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bill. You know that stuff that they spray on guys when they in baseball when they foul a ball off their foot.
They do that in soccer. They come out
They
like
do
a
it
guy
too.
did the shit, and the guy comes out with the spray, and I'm like, "What are you spraying? Steroids on him?"
He's freezing it. Is what he's doing.
Okay, I was like, is that some kind of like steroid spray that's supposed to like?
It freezes it.
Okay.
Basically you don't feel it because it's been frozen.
It's numb. It's numb
Yeah,
now.
numbed, right? And numbed without having to bring out the cortisone shot and shoot you in the.
Hey, you'll be fine to the end of the game, and then when it thaws out afterwards, good luck.
Oh, you're one hurting puppy.
Gonna feel it then.
Yeah. So Bill, I think that's a good question. I think they probably did something. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them because they've done it before. I've seen guys get the knees and the and shoulders and all that kind of shot. But because the cortisone will give you cortisone. The one thing that concerns me when you get a cortisone shot because I've had rotator cuff issues, and the cortisone shot. The problem is that it will take care of the pain, 100% take care of it. But it also masks anything you do. So if you are tearing yourself, then you're not gonna feel it, and you may end up worse.
Yeah,
for getting it. But
you're still tearing through it.
Oh yeah, you're ripping stuff all the time, but you're not feeling it. And so could they have done that for Mahomes? Yeah. It's either they either froze it or, I mean, he clearly ran for 26 yards after it was in the second half. So he hobbled, but he hobbled 26 yards. That's pretty good. Fast enough that he got through it. But yeah, that was he's probably got his foot in a boot this morning.
I was gonna say like he could be in crutches or something afterwards easily.
Yeah, last night after they felt no pain till they got home to the hotel. So I wouldn't be surprised if I saw him in a boot somewhere, on the trail back to Kansas City.
Well, now he's got a whole off season here already.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the theory of the case on why we would allow somebody to shoot you like that during the game. It's like, okay, after this half, we're off for the year. So
X amount of months to heal.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I didn't see? No, I should have. Who won the waste management yesterday?
You know what? I don't think I can Google it.
I watched it up until the last few minutes, and then I flipped over to something pre-game-ish.
It was Scotty.
Oh, okay.
Scotty Scheffler.
How about that?
And we had a Canadian guy in second.
Well, the Canadian guy's was in second for most of the week.
Yeah, Nick Taylor, 2 strokes behind.
Yeah.
Look at that. He beat Rahm by 3. And then look at that. Scheffler had like a 5-stroke lead over Rahm in third. Just absolutely was him and Taylor were just completely away from the field.
I mean, yeah, they ran away.
Yeah, even Rahm, like he was the only one at -14. Justin Thomas only one at -13. Justin Day at -12, and then everybody else 11 and 10. But yeah, there was some separation in that one.
Boy, they put some scores up there.
Yeah, Justin Thomas, Nick Taylor, and Scotty Scheffler all shot a 6 under on the final round yesterday.
Whoa.
Yeah, and just imagine if Scheffler had a bad day, we could have been looking at a different winner there.
Whoa, man!
All 3 6 under.
What was that? A putt course this last day? I mean, jeez.
Yeah, and then you look at everybody else, not even close. It was like 3 under was the next closest.
Holy crap! That was.
Oh, except B. Hostler, who finished 8 under for the tournament, finished 8 under yesterday.
I'm not familiar with Hostler.
Let me see. Bo Hostler.
Oh, yeah. I'm still not that familiar with him.
Yeah, he shot 8 under yesterday, but he finished 8 under for the tournament. So he
was even coming into the day.
He was floating even all weekend, and then he just exploded in round 4.
There has to be something. Play of the day, Miami Hurricanes plus
even
4 or 5.
Fitzpatrick went.
Bill, you like the game.
Look at that. So many of these teams or so many of these guys actually had big day. Another 6 under. Wait, who?
Course yesterday.
P. Rogers. Is that Aaron Rodgers' brother?
That could be.
Patrick Rogers.
Patrick Rogers. Yeah. Well, what was it? Who was it? Rogers. It was Rogers last week that won the Pro-Am.
Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers won the Pro-Am of the AT&T up at Pebble.
You know what? He should stick to golf.
My brother was pissed off because Rodgers is a legit 2 handicap. Okay? So they give him a 10. They give him a 10 handicap. He gets 10 strokes on the rest of the field.
Well, how was that fair? Who calculated his handicap?
His handicap's a 2.
Who calculated his handicap? That's ridiculous.
Well, they came in. He writes down he's got a 10 handicap.
Oh, what an ass.
And they're like, it's like, come on. This guy is legit too. He could maybe, be a tour player. Maybe.
Wow. That's what I mean, right? Like, never mind your letter of retirement. Just send a transfer letter to the office. I'm going to the PGA. I'm flipping.
Send Tim Fitch in a letter. Hell, the LIV would probably pay him $100 million just to play golf on that tour.
Yeah, I'm not an NFL MLB guy. I'm actually an NFL PGA guy.
No, I think Tony Romo probably could have done the same thing. Romo's a good golfer.
Yeah, I bet a lot of those guys are looking, well, I could have played PGA in the off season too.
Yeah, but
you probably could because it's more of like an individual.
Yeah, I mean, what happens in that case, you would probably get a sponsor's exemption because of your name, and so you wouldn't have to qualify. I mean, if it were you and me making the tour, right? We'd have to qualify for every event that we played. But
one day, Jim.
Yeah, they've got
one day they'll recognize us.
They'll give us our just due.
All right, maybe Liv will come knocking.
Right, you never know.
Us $100 million.
But my brother calls me pissed off the other day. He goes, "Hey," he goes, "Did you watch the Pro-Am last week?" I said, "Yeah, I watched them." Did you see Aaron Rodgers won the amateur part? I said, "No, I didn't see that." He said, "Damn, Rodgers cheated." I go, "What did he do?" He said he put a 10 down as his handicap, and they believed him.
Oh my god!
Because he played in the, you can be invited to play in any Open, so except for the U.S. Open where you have to qualify, or PGA where you have to qualify. And so he was invited to Europe to play in the British Open, and he was a 2 handicap because he had to be under 5 to get in. So he was a legit 2, writes down a 10, and they believe him. So
didn't you guys check with the Euro Tour? Like, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, call it. I mean, you wouldn't check. You wouldn't call his home course and say, okay, what is he from that standpoint? You don't check it out. I mean, it's like Justin Fields walking up and saying, I'm an 11 handicap. I'll take. Oh, okay, sure, no problem. I'll give you 11 strokes. What 10 strokes on those 3 courses, man? That's you're giving it. You might as well hand the guy the trophy.
Seriously. And then there were some players that were like shanking the balls, right? Almost hit a few people.
Wow,
that was good.
Well, some of those guys showed up over at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Did you see the Peyton Manning tweet to Tom Brady? He recycled his tweet from last year.
Right. Yeah.
I think Tom Brady just wanted to be part of the 2 times retired club with Gronk. I think that's what it was all about.
Yeah, they wanted their own opportunity.
They wanted to be in the 2 times retired club together.
So there's not that much left, so they figured, why not?
Did you see that FanDuel Gronk kick?
I did not.
Oh, so stupid. They played it like during a commercial in the 3rd quarter, like halfway through. And it was the dumbest thing. It was on like a field outside in the middle of the desert. I couldn't even tell you where they shot this thing.
They didn't do it. They didn't do it in the stadium. They did it outside somewhere.
Yeah, because the NFL definitely told them, no, get the hell out of here with your field goal, Gronk kicking a field goal. So I kid you not, it was like dark outside. You could see like the shrubs and whatever coming out of the sand around. It was basically like a slab of concrete with a goal post, right? And then they rolled the turf over it. And they just had like Vinatieri and a bunch of like cheerleaders on the side and all his like support staff.
Did he make it?
Watch. No, he missed it. That was the other thing. He kicks it and it's going straight, and then it takes like a 90-degree turn left right before the post, and it just like curled right in front of the left post. And then FanDuel's like, oh man, he missed, but don't worry, you guys still win. You're going to get the free bet and check your account tomorrow. And then 2 hours later, I get a notification from FanDuel. It was like, oh, man. Oh, shucks. Gronk missed, but don't worry. We're still going to give you $10 in bonus. And I was like, what? You couldn't even do 20? So what? Did you have him miss on purpose? Like,
right.
What?
It was they had it all. So it's like in golf, he fades it.
Yeah.
Oh man!
Honestly, at promotion-wise, F-, FanDuel, F-. The hell is that? You guys set up.
I thought he was going to kick it at halftime at the stadium. That's what they were pitching.
Yeah, that's what they were pitching live at halftime at the Super Bowl. That was in the commercial. I couldn't even tell you if it was live. It could have been recorded because it was during the commercial, and it had like in the top right, it had like a little thing that said FD live and the red dot. So like it might not have even been live. It definitely wasn't at the Super Bowl. It was on some random field outside in the desert. Yeah. And he missed on top of it from like 20 yards away too. It wasn't even like they had him kick half the field. It was like a 30-yard field goal.
Well, there's a guy, Josh Altman, who's on it's a reality show called Selling Los Angeles, and Josh played played the football and soccer at Syracuse, and so Dan Patrick, he was on Patrick's show, and Patrick said, "Can you still kick?" He hadn't played. I mean, it's 10 years since he's been in college or more, and he said, sure, I think I could probably do it. So they take him out to Beverly Hills High School, and they put one of those, those tee holders. There's not a person, it's just a tee holder that you see them practice with. And Altman goes, how far out do you want to go? And he said, I don't know, maybe I can do it from 35. If you want to put it out at 40, I'll give it a shot, but 35 maybe. He's in his street clothes, okay? Except for tennis shoes. He goes up and he whacks it on the first time. He whacks it straight through.
Oh my gosh!
35 yards. And he said, tomorrow I won't be able to walk, but today, I nailed it. And, you're sitting there going, wow, that's pretty good. So you're thinking, Gronk, okay, he's big. He's got, there's no reason his leg-wise guy, he's going to have strong legs. You have to have strong legs to play tight end. So you're thinking, well, why not? If it's no ridiculously long distance, why wouldn't you be able to kick it? But evidently you couldn't. So there you go. But I thought it was going to be during halftime. So no, I thought I missed it.
Yeah, I thought so too. I will say it is really hard. Like as somebody who played rugby,
sure.
I could drop kick a rugby ball through the uprights, but I couldn't kick a football with somebody like holding it up, setting it up as a field goal. I couldn't, for the life of me, even get air off of it. So I don't know what it is. Maybe I just didn't try hard enough, but I didn't try kicking footballs. I can kick a rugby ball, but I can't kick a football for some reason.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing about that is there's still in the rules. If you want to drop kick a field goal, you can drop kick a field goal. Now,
I think
a lot of people won't do it because that would be relatively simple to block because you literally are dropping the ball on the ground and hoping that it bounces the way you want it to bounce. And a rugby ball and a football are not exactly the same, ball.
Yeah, it's a little flatter on the end, so
right.
It can bounce more
It's
like
a little
straight
more,
up.
Yeah, there's a little more roundness in a rugby ball than there is for a football.
Yeah, if you drop it the right way, it'll bounce directly like straight as if it's on a tee,
right.
and then you can just murder it through.
Well, we've seen punters drop the ball, miss it, and still kick it 20, 30 yards. So,
But that's what I mean. Now you start to see the Aussies come over. A few of them, they like to do the drop kick because they're used to it, right? So,
right.
I mean, hey, if you practice it with the football and you can do it with the football, then go ahead and do it.
Well, they got those guys who are punters. The Aussies are coming over and punting and kicking the ball, 60 yards, but no, putting it literally on a point right where there's no way you can get to it. So that's pretty impressive. All right. Well, we were waiting for Sean, and clearly he didn't get to the internet fast enough. Will be tomorrow's show if we keep this up. So we will catch him from Barcelona tomorrow, I guess. And he'll fill us in on what's going on in the Champions League. Any final thoughts, Amedeus, before we get out of here?
Yeah, just the Eagles just need 2 more finals to be the first ever team to make it to all 5 finals and lose in the same year. Or Philadelphia, sorry, as a city.
That would be
the Union lost, the Phillies lost, now the Eagles. The 76ers have a chance to get to the NBA championship.
They're a playoff team.
It's just the Flyers that might break the
Flyers aren't going anywhere. Yeah. Flyers are going nowhere.
You're only saving grace, Philadelphia. The Flyers won't lose in the finals this year.
Right. Because you have to get in the playoffs before you can play in the finals. But the Sixers are a good enough team. They in the East, they might.
Could you imagine if they go to the finals and lose?
That would be weird.
I don't think Philadelphia will have a city left over.
No, they would be upset. But yeah, the Phillies didn't quite make it. Eagles didn't quite make it now, and the soccer team didn't quite make it. But yeah, that's the 76ers are a good basketball team, but they're nowhere near. They're probably the 4th best team in the West. So maybe the 5th.
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams.
Because you have to figure Phoenix is probably the best. About Golden State and Phoenix are right on each other. The Lakers got better. Not good, but better.
The Nuggets and the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Probably 2 of the best teams right now.
Like, the more that you bring up, the further down Philadelphia gets.
And then that's not even counting the East with the Celtics.
Well, yeah, there's them. But yeah, actually they may struggle to get to the top 10. But they will be in the playoffs. Oh man. So anyway. All right. So now, to those of you in Philadelphia, we send our condolences. To those of you in Kansas City, we send you congratulations, and hope everybody had a good day. It's a slow Monday, which way it always is, pretty much. But Tuesday, we'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. and ready to rock and roll again. So for Amedeus, I'm Jim. Have a nice day, gang. And, we hope that one way or another you had a good day yesterday.